Well, folks, we finally got some clarity on when the pubs are reopening. The 4th of July this year is what we have christened Independence Day. Sorry, American listeners, we have got to claim back the 4th of July for this year to get our pubs back open. And I'm talking about that on this week's show with G. Franklin, who is the global Luxardo Ambassador. So, enjoy. On this week's show, we've got a guest. Introduce yourself to the BartenderHQ team.
Yep. So my name is G, or I go by the name of G. My actual name is Gareth Franklin, but my parents didn't teach me how to pronounce my THs correctly. And as a massive hip hop nerd, my friends have always nicknamed me G, and obviously it's stuck. And being the global brand ambassador for Luxardo, I meet a lot of people, and G is a very memorable name, so it kind of works very well in that sense as well. But yeah, so I've been bartending for I guess 16 years now. So yeah, long time in the game, and been doing the Luxardo gig for the past 7 years now. So
cool. Well, number one, I didn't remember that you were the Luxardo guy. And I think we might have met in person at Imbibe a couple of years ago, and it was Sam Bolton that brought us together.
Yes.
I think. That makes a lot of sense now. I was like, I recognise this guy, but I don't know why. And obviously, you've just reached out to me because of the thing that I put out on Twitter at the time of recording yesterday, which is Independence Day, and obviously the 4th of July here in the UK is when the pubs and bars are allowed to open, obviously with some restrictions, but I was basically putting a thing out to say I think it's really important that people support independence now. I've been a little bit outspoken in the past about saying don't support independents because they're independent, but support them because they've got that kind of freedom and that they do things well. Don't support them just for the sake of their independent. But at this point, it's actually really important because the independents are the ones that are going to be struggling the most at the moment. So you reached out, and you can take over the story at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not much of a story, I guess, but I saw what you did, and obviously, sort of, independence and independence, and I thought, well, that's really clever, and for myself, since lockdown began, I kind of started this team spirit project. And the Team Spirit project was initially supposed to be all of the brand ambassadors that worked for Cellar Trends. About a week into it, everyone got furloughed apart from myself. And then so Team Spirit took on a new meaning, and it was just whoever I decided to team up with to bring positivity to the industry, whatever shape or form that comes in. And so, we were doing like video content, and just kind of showcasing all the good stuff that bartenders are doing. So we had one guy, CJ, he works for Stonegate. Him and his friends were they've got 3D printers, so they're like actually printing PPE for the NHS, you know what I mean, off their own backs to start off with as well. And then obviously, they got the crowdfunding or whatever it is going, and or GoFundMe or whatever. And for me, I was just kind of like, you guys are doing amazing stuff. All of the stuff that has kind of like pushed you out into the wide stream audience has been in industry press. And there's so much information going out at the moment, maybe people don't have time to digest it, but also I thought it would work quite well if we had a video that obviously people from not the industry would be able to watch as well. And so we made a video together. I get them to send me some bits and bobs explaining their process, and then I put it into a video where I dress as Batman and do stupid shit, because people have short attention spans, and they're like, they don't like being preached at. So, if there's someone making a tit out of himself, then they're more likely to watch it. So that's what we were doing. And then I saw your thing, and I was just like, that's wicked. Like, and, I've always worked in independent bars myself. And, Luxardo as well is like an independent company. And, so I've always been sort of like a big fan of the underdog. And I was like, this is really cool. I'd like to chuck in an assist in whichever way I can. And now we're here. We're chatting.
Yeah,
it's good.
It doesn't take that long, does it?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. And
we pull out a couple of iPhones and we're all set.
Done, man. Yeah. It's yeah. And for me, I think there's a couple of points about independence, but the main one for me is passion and culture. And coming from, so I used to live in Cambridge, and Cambridge is one of those towns where the rents have steadily gone up and up and up, and then now you look around the town centre, and there's very few independent shops, bars, restaurants, anything. Everything's been taken over by the chains, and I think chains have like a great, they have their place in society, and and I think they're great. They provide jobs and everything else as well. But it does bring about some some sadness when you go to a town and it looks exactly the same as any other town, and you're missing that sort of that cultural aspect, because I think restaurants and bars, that's our sort of best delivery system for culture, whether it's like sort of like the local village pub, or an Irish pub that's has an Irish landlord and is authentic, or it's sort of an Indian restaurant, or restaurants from any culture really. It's a delivery system for culture, and being able to experience that culture, it breeds understanding, it diversifies sort of like your experiences, and makes you a more interesting person. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there are still some great places in Cambridge that are independent. La Raza, Chabouche, those kind of places.
I used to run La Raza for 7 years.
Yeah, some awesome places. That's part of my patch nowadays. So so I love it out in Cambridge. But as you say, it is getting a lot homogenized.
And exactly what we're saying. So talking about Cambridge just lost one of its most iconic venues. So Don Pasquale's is an Italian family-owned restaurant. It's on the Market Square in Cambridge. It's been there for years. I can't remember Don Pasquale's not being there, and I'm 40. What I mean? And the club above it was 12A, which is a members club. But it's one of the best places to get cocktails, or was one of the best places to get cocktails in the city. And obviously that place is never going to open again. And that's a massive shame. It's because I think culture thrives on diversity, and having these different options for people to experience new things and stuff like that. And the knock-on effects are massive as well, because you take a place like 12A, and quite often they'll have live music, and local suppliers. So those local suppliers are not getting for business anymore. Are they getting are they supplying the chains? Probably not. They have their own suppliers, so it's having that knock-on effect on them. A lot of sort of like bigger sort of chain venues don't have live music, they don't have DJs, and then so you're having the knock-on effect where people in the arts community are losing out as well, and jobs for everyone, whether you're hospitality industry, or the knock-on effect of that is insane.
Absolutely. What do you see as being the kind of way that we're going to be going forward from this? Because obviously things are going to change. It's not going to go back to normal straight away. We've had a lot of the announcements kind of come out now, and the guidance has come through, and it looks like we're on the 1 meter plus thing. So there's going to be more people in the pubs than we thought there might have been, but it's not going to be back to the levels before. Like, where do you see the industry going? What sort of changes do you think people might need to make?
Well, so the thing is, I think we are we work on the fly in this industry. You know what I mean? Like, we're used to it. We're very experienced at it. I think more so than any industry in the world. You know what I mean? Like, what we deal with on a regular Saturday night and having to jump through hoops and whatever is great training that everyone should have to do as part of their national service, really. And I think because we've got that experience, I think we will survive, and there'll be a lot of sort of hurdles to jump, and we'll jump them when they come along. As to what those hurdles are is hard to say. I would like to think that a lot of pubs are going and restaurants are going to be it's going to be steady and it's going to be manageable. But then when you see pictures of the beach and all the people piled into the beach, you're just like, oh my God, this is going to be carnage,
Yeah.
But without sort of putting that sort of like, oh my God, sort of spin on it, let's keep it positive. I think I went to my local coffee shop this morning, and I was having a chat with the people there, because obviously they've got seating, and they usually do sort of food and stuff like that. And they were saying like, they don't know how they're going to do it, and apps and stuff like that. Big venues, obviously, Spoons obviously already have their app, and other people will follow suit and stuff as well. Independent venues don't have that option. I think one great option is utilize the tools that you've got, and this could be a plus. So let's take Facebook, for example. You come in, as soon as you come in, you check in. Because a lot of people check into a venue on Facebook anyway. You go to their page, you like the page. It has the menu on the page. And then you can be, you will have a number, and maybe to make it safe, like a code or something on the table. And then you go, I'm on table this, and I want to order this, and this. You know what I mean? And so you could do it for your Facebook. Obviously Facebook isn't set up for that, but if you don't have the finances to go out and do something, buy this app that, takes this cut or whatever, then I think there's always the option to utilize the tools you have and MacGyver them a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was one of the bars, a couple of the things just to pick up on. Sam, that is kind of our mutual friend that I mentioned before, his bar, the Vanguard, was taking they did movie nights, and they were taking Facebook Messenger orders just from the other end of the bar, so that they didn't have to get up during the movie. So that works really well, and that can work absolutely fine, even for people sitting outside, all that sort of stuff. And then the other thing is,
I was going to say also, what it can do is, once someone has logged in, like sort of like said that they're there, checked in or whatever, but then also liked your page, that means they're going to receive content from you. You know what I mean? If you've got a special on today, yes. Do you have room for tables a week from now? Do you have like some, I don't know, whatever bank holiday offer going on? You know what I mean? Yes, you do. You put it out on there. They're now following your page. They're going to be like, oh yeah, wicked. I had a great experience there. I'm definitely going to come back. And obviously that can sort of like be part of your booking system, and saying to people who are good customers, hey guys, like we've got these things coming up, or do you want, if you want to book a table, just to let you know, they go very quickly, but feel free to send us a message, you know what I mean? And and also with the thing with Facebook as well, you've got top fans. There's a thing on there for top fans, and maybe you can reward those people who are top fans, and maybe that could be a new way of working it as well.
Because that massively encourages people to do more commenting and engagement on the page. So then that gives you more reach and everything. I'm super into the social media stuff. I did put out some stuff about how to make videos of your drinks and how to basically engage on social. That's all through BartenderHQ.
I'm doing a video on how to make drinks next week. I've just been planning it out. But cool. I'll have to check it out.
All this stuff's awesome. And then the other thing, I think, the other one that I wanted to mention was 63rd and First in Leicester. I helped them open up and got their menu up and running, and their menu print hadn't arrived on the opening night, so we put their whole menu onto a Instagram story. And basically everyone that walked in, I was just like, right, it's on the Instagram story. It's one of the saved stories on the page.
Yeah.
Everyone can use that as a menu now.
Yeah. And that's a cool way of doing it, because the thing is, it's going to be there for 24 hours. If you can keep your business model fluid, and you can change it from day to day, but also you can make it interactive. Something like Instagram stories, where you have all these different the ability to sort of make it a lot more exciting and stuff like that. You've got, I wouldn't know how you would use them, but you've got the polls on there and stuff like that. Maybe that could be tied into sort of like the way that you order things or something. And it's I think if you choose to see things as an opportunity, I'm not saying that they will be, but what I mean, like it's like, oh, a challenge, and I think everyone kind of needs to keep that sort of chipper. Okay, this is a challenge, like let's choose to see it as something that could potentially be fun, and as long as you have that sort of like right mental attitude about it, then you'll get through it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You get through it the other way as well, but it'll be a lot more painful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a lot of bars where they've started doing takeout drinks and things like that as well, if the opportunity's there to keep that going, that's going to be a really good additional, basically it's extra seats that you don't have to have that are physically there, as long as people are licensed properly for it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that will
100%
carry on going. I think, whatever we might feel about the situation and what we're told from the government and what is safe and what isn't safe, it's easy for us to think that everyone thinks like us. You know what I mean? And that we're, because all we see on our phones is this bubble of, people who agree with us. And that's very dangerous. But, I think there's a lot of people out there who, are missing that social interaction, but are not ready for it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anyone that has died from this, but there are obviously people out there that do, and they're going to be very scared to go back out into the world, onto public transport, into a crowded park, and definitely into a pub, no matter how much they want to. And I think for that reason, having sort of takeaway delivery options, is going to work. It's going to be part of the business model going forwards. That's what I think, anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's going to be a part of it, especially for bars that are going to rely a lot on their outdoor space. Because obviously, as soon as the weather turns, you're going to just drop massive amounts of tables. So I think the idea that people will have the option of going to grab some drinks on their way home and then sitting in their garden if it's a nice day, or being able to potentially even deliver to an office so that people can have after work drinks in their own office space rather than moving to you. So you can do that before you rush, and then you can serve. I think it's going to have to be quite fluid, as you said earlier. And it's just going to be a case of reacting to things as they happen, but being prepared so that you've got the situation that you can react to it.
Definitely. I think the other thing that really needs to happen, and this is not from our end, you know what I mean? This is from the government's end, and hopefully it does happen. I don't know, but the guys at Hospitality Union, so Jonathan Downey and basically it started off as like a WhatsApp group, just like independent bar owners and stuff like that. It's grown to over 3,000 now, and there's some of the big chains are in there and stuff like that as well. Because the thing is, like a lot of chains are in very severe danger as well, because they've got bigger venues, and that means they've got bigger rents, and so when we say like let's make it Independence Day, I think we're more saying don't forget about the independents. You know what I mean? Like, support them if you love going to them and they're good, make sure you're there for them. But and so what Hospitality Union trying to do is essentially get the government to take action. Basically, they're not looking for a handout. They're not looking for, they're not Richard Branson asking for whatever from the taxpayer. What they're doing is they're saying, we need you to force a conversation between businesses and landlords, because, at the moment, some businesses, some landlords, they might be talking to them and stuff like that, but without the government intervening and saying, okay, guys need to have a conversation, there needs to be a sharing of, the burden, and just so that you can say, okay, this is a messed up situation, we're going to give you X amount of months, and then a reduced rate or whatever it is, and then you pay it back at the end of your tenancy, or you find a way of paying it back. This way no one's losing, businesses are given a fighting chance, and that's all you need. Because the thing is, as soon as we come back next Saturday, it's the venues, no matter how many people want to get in there, they're not going to be allowed to have full capacity.
No.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure I haven't read the guidelines at the moment. Maybe there's something in there, but I think there's people going to have to be a lot more diligent with regards to how many drinks they serve people and things like that as well. Just because, it's the responsible thing to do. And, we're talking about people's safety, which is the main priority for us people in the service industry. And so everything I think that those guys are doing, and also UK Hospitality, Kate Nichols and all those guys, I think is really, really good. And whoever's listening to this podcast, any way in which you can help them out, jump online, like write to your local MP and stuff like that. These are things that are going to help save, a fuck ton of jobs, sort of thing, and B, like I said before, help save that culture that we love. You know what I mean? It's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people to. I don't want this to go on forever, because I know.
You've
got a lot to get on with. But where can people find you online and what you're doing?
Yeah, so on Facebook you can find me as G Franklin. That's my page. You'll find all my video content there. It's some of it's a little bit branded, and so there's quite a lot of content on there. I also have a YouTube channel again, which is called G Franklin, and on Instagram I am Luxardo_G. The video content generally is like the stuff I was saying before. There will be some cocktail videos on there. I just felt the other stuff was a bit more important, and obviously it's global brand ambassador because I used to travel quite extensively.
We'll see.
I have a series of videos where I showcase sort of the best bars in the particular city that I'm in or was in.
Awesome.
Drinks that they do. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll throw all the links into the show notes, so anyone that wants to see it can see it. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are going to make a video together as well.
Yeah.
Which we'll,
awesome.
We'll get onto. All right.
Cool.
Thanks ever so much.
Brilliant. Thank you.